I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. Well, gosh, you're not looking at the date wrong. It is October.
It is.
Feeling like August, though.
A little bit.
Thomas Patrick joining us now. Thomas, my goodness, yesterday, if Jeremy wasn't in Costa Rica, his top would be down on his convertible.
Yeah.
Seriously.
100%. Yeah, what amazing weather we have, not just for the inland Northwest, but all up and down the West Coast. Very much kind of late summer or early summer conditions, not the dog days of summer, the really sweet spot of summer where it's nice and cool first thing in the morning, but super comfortable, but still warm during the afternoon hours. You just can't draw it up better than this. It's 53 degrees as we hit 6 o'clock right now. I see a little bit of that daylight glow in the eastern horizon. Still about 50 minutes away to sunrise, but nice to see just a little bit of the dawn skies starting to arise out east. Now, as is usual, a couple areas that are still in the upper 30s. Deer Park, St. Mary's, you're at 39 degrees. No surprise that there is another cool morning. That really isn't going to change from here on out. But there are plenty of areas that are waking up with temps in the 50s. You see that in Spokane and Pullman, 53, 54 respectively. That is a mild morning, especially for this time of year. A time of year where we could easily be hitting 32 degrees or colder. We can get our first frost at around this time of year quite easily, but not the case this week. Pleasant weather all across the Northwest. Nothing but sunshine. Once that sun does come up in about 50 minutes time, we should see those highs right around 80 degrees yet again.
A warning this morning for anyone driving on the South Hill. New school zone speeding cameras are up and running right now. And of course, we want to help you avoid getting a speeding ticket. So this morning, KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez is joining us live from one of those school zones right now. So Nicole, can you tell us more about these cameras and exactly where they are?
So Channing, right now we're on Regal Street outside of Ferris. That's where one of these new cameras is, on Regal Street, like I just mentioned. Another one just down the street on Ray is right outside of Adams Elementary. And then there's one more new camera on right outside of Roosevelt Elementary on Bernard Street. And the new cameras are up and running right now, and along with them, new flashing signs telling drivers when the school zones are active. The cameras will snap photos of any drivers going over 20 miles per hour when the signs are flashing.
That pay their tickets, 90% of them never get another ticket again. So obviously the cameras are doing their jobs and doing them effectively.
So starting yesterday, the 3 new cameras are sending warnings to drivers caught. Then starting November 1st, speeders will start getting tickets. The ticket won't go on your record or affect your insurance, but you will have to pay a fine between $217 and $483. Adding these 3 cameras makes it a total of 8 around the Spokane area. The city says they're planning on using the money that they get in from these paid traffic tickets to actually fund community projects. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Right now, a Moses Lake man suspected of killing his wife is in court for an extradition hearing. This is essentially what determines if he can be transferred back to Washington State. Last week, police arrested Charles Bergman in Pennsylvania. Bergman and his wife Teresa went missing after last being seen at the Spokane International Airport in mid-September. Authorities found Teresa's body in a remote field in Lincoln County, while Charles was found several days later on the other side of the country. Right now, he is in a Pennsylvania prison waiting to be brought back to Washington State. That hearing is happening right now, and we'll keep you updated on what happens.
It's 6:05 now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. An 18-year-old man is accused of attacking and raping a woman in downtown Spokane. Court documents show that a 51-year-old woman was walking her dog last Monday when 18-year-old Ethan Jake asked if she would buy him some cigarettes. She refused and says that Jake continued to follow her. He then attacked and raped the woman. Spokane police arrested Jake on Saturday. He's now charged with second-degree rape. The Washington Department of Commerce approved $9 million for Catholic charities to buy and renovate the Quality Inn off of Sunset Boulevard. This is part of the Catalyst project, and the nonprofit plans to turn the former hotel into transitional housing with the hope of providing 87 rooms, 3 meals a day for residents, and behavioral health services. Well, the Coeur d'Alene School District is now adopting a new suicide prevention program for elementary schools. This new program is called Sources of Strength, and it's supposed to promote positive changes in school culture. The program is already being used in middle and high schools in the area and has been tested in 5 Coeur d'Alene elementary schools. And that's a look at your morning rush. Switching gears now, taking a look at 3 stories from around the Northwest.
First, a federal judge ordered the state of Idaho and its prison medical provider to pay more than $2.5 million in legal fees to a transgender inmate. In 2017, Adri Edmo was denied gender confirmation surgery. A year later, Edmo sued the state and the Department of Corrections healthcare provider Corazon. She claimed they violated her 8th Amendment right against cruel and unusual punishment. She won the lawsuit and got the surgery in 2020. Meanwhile, $500 million, that's how much the Attorney General won from the pharmaceutical companies in the state's battle against the opioid epidemic.
In November, the state of Washington went to trial against 3 opioid distributors for their role in contributing to the opioid epidemic in the state. After a 6-month trial, they reached a $500 million settlement. $215 million will go to communities, while another $215 million will go to the state.
These significant resources will help Washington State fight back against the opioid epidemic that continues, even as we speak, that continues to rip holes through the very fabric of our communities and of families, overwhelm our public health resources, and inundate our foster care system with young innocent victims.
Spokane County will receive one of the largest portions of this settlement with almost $20 million. Now, the settlement will be distributed over the next 17 years, with the first payments coming out this December.
In 2 days, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will be in Washington state. He's coming to see projects being paid for by President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law. On Thursday and Friday, he will make stops in the Seattle area and in Wenatchee.